Today, the Fab Four are together talking about the rebel, the outlaw, the revolutionary, and make no mistake, this isn't about being a contrarian for attention. This is about the archetype that destroys what no longer serves you, even when that thing is your own identity. Now, Jung would start this conversation by showing us the shadow. The rebel isn't just the heroic maverick you see in movies. It's the unconscious force that erupts when the persona, the mask you wear to fit in, becomes suffocating. Repress the rebel, and it comes out as sabotage, as addiction, as that mysterious, self-destructive streak you can't explain. Integrate it, and you achieve individuation. You become whole. Buddha would immediately interrupt him with that knowing smile. Rebellion, he would say, can become its own prison. You rage against the system. You break free. And then what? Most rebels just build a new cage with different bars. They become attached to their own rebellion. I am the one who doesn't conform. That's just another ego trip, another identity to cling to. True liberation isn't about fighting the old. It's about seeing through the illusion to the truth, that you were never bound in the first place. And you know, Jung would push back hard. He'd argue that Buddha's detachment sounds beautiful in a monastery, but what about the person in a toxic workplace? What about the woman in a controlling marriage? Sometimes you do need to burn the house down before you can see clearly. Sometimes the fire is the clarity, but Machiavelli would cut through both of them with that cold, practical gaze. You're both right, which makes you both dangerous to yourselves. The unintegrated rebel dies in a ditch. The detached Buddha never changes the world. Listen carefully. Rebellion without strategy is just suicide with extra steps. You want to overthrow the king? Fine. But who takes his place? You want to quit your job? Good. But how do you eat next month? The effective rebel isn't the loudest one. It's the one who calculates the cost, builds the alliances, and strikes when victory is certain. The fool rebels and is crushed. The wise rebel becomes the new authority. The Stoics would jump in here with something crucial that Machiavelli almost gets right, but pollutes with ambition. Epictetus was a slave who became free, not by raging against his chains, but by mastering his mind while the chains were still on, and regarding the rebel who needs externals to change before they can be at peace. That's not a rebel. That's a slave with a temper tantrum. True rebellion is internal first. You control your judgments, you control your actions, and the rest, be indifferent to it. Let the mob scream. Let the empire fall. You remain centered. Jung would fire back that the Stoics risk becoming dead inside, so focused on controlling their reactions that they feel nothing. The rebel's gift is passion. It's that burning refusal to accept what is wrong. When you numb yourself to the pain of injustice, when you retreat to your inner fortress, you might be serene, but you're also useless to the revolution. But Machiavelli would call that absolutely naive. Passion without power changes nothing. Look at history. The martyrs are dead. The survivors write the books. The rebel who wants to win must learn to wear the mask when necessary, to speak the language of the court while plotting its downfall. Authenticity is a luxury for the secure. The real rebel is a fox, not just a lion. Buddha would agree with Machiavelli here, though it would pain him. Attachment to the outcome, to the revolution, to the identity of being the one who changed things, that's still attachment. That's still suffering. You can act decisively. You can dismantle oppression, but hold your cause lightly. Otherwise, you become what you hate. The revolutionary who becomes the new tyrant, he was never free. He just switched prisons. The Stoics would counter that Buddha's non-attachment is so absolute it becomes passivity. Marcus Aurelius fought barbarians while practicing detachment. Now, the key is this. You rebel because it is right, not because it feels good, not because you need the victory to validate your existence. You do your duty. You change what you can. You accept what you can't. And you have the wisdom to know the difference. That's the rebel who endures. Here's where our Fab Four start finding synthesis. The rebel archetype in its golden form destroys to create, not just to destroy. It questions everything but believes in something. It stands alone when necessary, but builds tribes when possible. It burns bridges, but only the ones that lead nowhere. Jung would say the shadow isn't just about breaking rules. It's about breaking the internal rules you've accepted as absolute. The inner critic that says, be realistic. The voice that says, who do you think you are? That voice isn't you. It's the internalized parent, the teacher, the system. The rebel's work is to kill that voice gently, but completely. Machiavelli would add, kill it strategically. Don't announce your intentions. Don't warn the enemy. The rebel who broadcasts every move gets captured. Move in silence. Let your results be your revolution. Build your power base before you challenge the throne. Fortune favors the prepared, not the loud. Buddha would remind us that the deepest rebellion is against the illusion of separateness. You're not fighting them. There is no them. There's just suffering and the end of suffering. When you rebel from that place, without hatred, without the need to punish, your actions carry a different weight. You become a force of nature, not a force of ego. The Stoics would say the sign of the mature rebel is this: you can be imprisoned, exiled, executed, and still be free. You can lose every battle and win the war for your soul. The rebel who needs to win to be happy is already defeated. The rebel who acts from virtue is victorious, even in death. So here's the practical application. The rebel archetype is calling you to three things. 1. Identify your cage, not metaphorically, specifically. What rule are you following that you never agreed to? What should is suffocating you? Write it down. Look at it. That's your target. 2. Calculate the cost. Machiavelli demands this. What will you lose? What will you gain? If you're not willing to pay the price, stay in the cage, but know you're choosing it. Don't blame the warden when you hold the key. 3. Act. Not eventually, now. Small rebellions build the muscle for big ones. Speak the truth in one conversation today. Say no to one demand that violates your integrity. Feel the fear and do it anyway. That's the trial that forges you. But Buddha would add, watch your attachment to the result. Did you speak truth? Good. Let go of whether they listened. Did you set a boundary? Excellent. Let go of whether they liked it. The freedom is in the action, not the outcome. The Stoics would say persist. Rebellion isn't one moment of courage. It's daily discipline. It's choosing authenticity when conformity is easier. It's choosing integrity when corruption is profitable. That's the rebel's path. Not glamorous, just free. Jung would hammer home the final point. Most of you are rebelling against the wrong things. You're fighting traffic, fighting your boss, fighting your ex, but you're not fighting the internalized oppression. You're not fighting your own cowardice. Turn the blade inward first. Kill the self that isn't you. That's the revolution that matters. And Machiavelli would agree, surprisingly. Know your enemy, and your enemy is rarely out there. The enemy is your need to be liked, your fear of poverty, your attachment to safety. Conquer those, and the external cages fall easily. If this conversation has sparked something in you, and I can tell by the fact that you're still listening that it has, then show your appreciation. Hit the like button. It costs you nothing and helps us reach others who need this wisdom. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is the final part of our Archetype trilogy. Go back and watch The Sage and The Lover if you missed them. Together, They form a complete system for becoming sovereign in your own life. Leave a comment below. Where are you being called to rebel? What cage are you ready to leave? What's the cost you're afraid to pay? Let's discuss this honestly. Awareness is the first step to freedom. Remember, the rebel asks you to destroy wisely, not recklessly, not for ego, but completely. Tear down what must fall, build what must rise, and never, ever apologize for your existence.